Hey there, entrepreneurs. My name is Sushant, and welcome to Trep Talks. This is the show where I interview successful entrepreneurs, business executives, and thought leaders and ask them questions about their business story and also dive deep into some of the strategies and tactics that they have used to start and grow their businesses. And today, I'm so excited to welcome Mr. Dave Munson. Dave is the founder and CEO of Saddleback Leather Company, which manufactures and sells high-quality leather bags, briefcases, and wallets, and other leather merchandise. And today I want to ask Dave a few questions about his startup story and some of the strategies and tactics that he has used to grow his business. So thank you so much for joining me today, Dave.
Well, I'm glad to be here. It's an honor that you asked me.
Pleasure is all mine. The first segment is called The Story. And in this segment, I want to discover the story behind the entrepreneur, business, or the brand. So I know that you have a very interesting story. Could you please share a little bit about your startup story for Saddleback Leather Company? How did you get the idea, and what were some of the first steps? And how did you get started?
Yeah, so in 1999, I was teaching English down in Mexico, and central Mexico, a little southern Mexico. And so I was down there, and I was needing a bag to carry my books in. I had an old backpack from college, and so what I decided to do was get a leather one, something like Indiana Jones would carry. And so I started looking around for one, couldn't find one anywhere in the markets, but I found a guy making leather bags. So I asked him if I drew it out, if he could make it for me. So he did. And everywhere I went with that bag, everyone was asking me, "Oh my gosh, where did you get that bag?" And so
But before this, you had never thought about like starting a business. This was just like your personal. You wanted to get a bag for your personal reasons.
Right. Yeah, I got a degree in theology. So if you want to know about the end of the world and how all that happens and how to go to heaven, I'm your guy. But I didn't know anything about business or anything about marketing or design or anything like that. So so I had a bag made. Everyone loved it, and I told them I didn't want any breakable parts, no zippers, no snaps, magnets, that sort of thing. So I said I want them to fight over it when I'm dead. So that's our slogan: they'll fight over it when you're dead. And I got back up to the U.S. and everyone was asking me, man, where'd you get that bag? Where'd you get that bag? Where can I buy one of those bags? 4 or 5 times a day, people tap me on the shoulder. So I went back to Mexico. I ended up in Juarez, Mexico, across from El Paso, Texas. I was living there with my dog. We slept on the floor of a $100 a month apartment for 3 years, no hot water. I would go to the bus station once a week or so, and this father and son further south would send bags up on the bus, and I'd go get them, take them to El Paso, sell them on eBay. I used a friend's mechanic shop at night, and he said he wasn't using it, so I sold there on eBay, and then I got selling so many bags that I couldn't keep up with demand on eBay.
By the way, do you consider yourself to be like a natural entrepreneur or more like a salesperson kind of a personality? Because when I see your videos on YouTube or other channels, like I feel that you almost as a personality, you're more of a sales or entrepreneurial personality. Do you think that helped you in building this business? Because someone else could have very easily found that they're interested in this bag, but they would have never thought about starting a business.
Yeah, I think I have the entrepreneurial spirit. So I've had about 30 different jobs before I started my own. And I just hated working for people. So I saw the problem in everything. I saw that it's kind of a flaw. When you get married, that's a curse because you see the flaw in your wife, you see the flaw in the kids, you see everything's wrong. So you have to, decide when you speak up and when you don't. The salesperson, that's a different breed. Those guys, they have to follow up and pursue and set times to follow up again and be really persistent. Those are the excellent salespeople. They're always networking. That's a different profile. My brother has that. but he wouldn't be an entrepreneur. He doesn't have a lot of ideas for things. And so I've got a lot of ideas for things and how to make things better than everyone else. So whenever I see a chair, I think this is a terrible design. Why didn't they do this? What if we had a chair that had a plug? You could plug your laptop into it, So you're always thinking of improving things. So I think the entrepreneurs, they're visionaries. They have a lot of ideas. Salespeople don't have a lot of ideas, but they're really good at connecting with people and being persistent. And really, you need kind of both. Once a business gets off the ground, you need to have salespeople who can be persistent, follow through. I don't really need to follow through with too many things. I'm not very good with that, but I'm good with. Good with people. You want to be good with people. I think it'd be difficult to start a business if you're not good with people.
And I know that when I look at your social media, YouTube channels, Instagram, you travel a lot, and I know that traveling has a lot of benefits. Just meeting new people. What is the benefit that you find that travel has? Do you recommend it to other people?
Yeah. So I think it was St. Augustine said, "The world is a book, and those who do not travel read only one page." And so when you travel around, I see little attachments. I see little features of design. I see arches, and I see different styles of homes and kitchens, and you just start seeing so many things. It opens your mind up to a lot of different, just a different way of thinking. So it's not always necessary, but it just opens your mind. It has opened my mind up to a whole lot of different, in design particularly, a lot of different things. I think it's very important to travel. I think it should be required to travel overseas to understand different cultures and perspectives. And when you get back, you're better able to relate to people. Not everyone, your friends and buddies, but it's easier to relate to people from other cultures. So we've been to Africa, I don't know, a couple dozen times. And I was on the airplane one time talking to a guy, and he had a strong Indian accent. And I said, "Oh, where from India are you from? Where are you from in India?" He said, "Actually, I'm from Nepal." And I said, "Oh, okay. So did you have water growing up in your home?" He goes, "No." He was shocked. He was a university professor up at University of Washington. And I said, "Did you have electricity in your home?" He said, he was wide-eyed. He goes, "No, I didn't." "How did you know?" Excuse me. I said, "Well, we travel a little bit, and we realize not everyone has those things in their homes." And he said, "But nobody knows that. Everyone thinks everyone in the world has a flat screen TV." And I said, no, I understand that because of being in a lot of places without running water or, a well for the community, that sort of thing. No electricity. The kids can't study at night. And anyway, so I was able to have a meaningful conversation with him that nobody else had had. And so that's from traveling.
Well, I know I am from India, and I grew up in India, and I can tell that growing up, there was a lot of times there was power outage, and we literally had to study for exams like in kerosene lamps and things like that. So that was the story of India, at least I think 20 years ago. Now we're going to move on to our next segment, which is called The Business. And in this segment, I want to dive deep into a little bit more about your business and some of the strategies and tactics that you've used to start and grow your business. So I'm very interested in learning about what your manufacturing process is like. Are all your products handmade?
Yeah, so handmade is, some people will say it's not handmade if a machine is used. Somebody else will say if even if you handmade the machine with just a knife and you pulled hair out and you made a band for it, that doesn't qualify as handmade anymore. You can't use a machine. So yeah, all of our stuff is takes muscle, it takes strength. All of our bags, it takes skill. It takes 8 to 10 months of daily sewing on a heavy machine to be able to get nice, strong stitching. All of the lining is done by hand, all the pigskin, all of the on top of the leather. Yeah, now we have dies that we click. We cut out of certain things. Certain things we cut by hand. When we're doing our trunks, leather trunks, those are it takes 2 guys 2 weeks to make a trunk. And that is completely hand sewn, all by hand. But we have sewing machines that we do a lot of. So we consider it handmade, even though we use dies for cutting out leather. But here's the thing: I had this father and son making bags a long time ago, and they were all handmade, like handmade, like hand stitching and that sort of thing. And the quality wasn't as good as the quality that I get with my sewing machines. And it's not as consistent. And they would miss things. But when you have repetition, when you have 3 people who are making a bag and they get used to the same roll over and over again, and then they switch roles with someone else, but they get really good at it, and you get higher quality. So I wouldn't want everything handmade. I don't think we would get the quality that we have.
And do you think that there's some drawback of this also, given that you can't really mass produce these bags if there is a requirement for some manual intervention for every product, or do you consider this as a value proposition, that this is you have a very curated selection of products?
Yeah, it's not a drawback because we don't sell to we're not trying to sell to the whole world. We're not trying to be a generic brand. So yeah, we run out of stock quite often of our bags, which it's kind of nice. It creates more of a demand. Like, wow, everyone likes this bag. Everyone likes these bags. So no, that doesn't bother me, having that it's a constraint, not having something that the machine just stamps out, or something low quality that is made in such mass that it ends up being kind of junky. The lower quantity, it requires us to do excellent work.
And who do you consider to be your ideal customer or target market? I know when I look at your business, I get the feeling of more of a small business, family based, and not more of a corporate brand. Is that intentional, or what was the strategy behind that?
Yeah, no one wants to buy from Saddleback Leather Corp. They want to buy from Dave Munson, right? You want to buy from a friend. You want to buy from someone you like, and so someone who's authentic. And so I share stuff that's authentic. I share the behind the scenes of our life with we have a Not Dead Yet show that we do, little just behind the scenes stuff. We have, I think, 70 episodes now. We're just very personable, and I think people like to buy from friends. And so, and also it's different from trying to compete with J. Crew and all these, Ralph Lauren and all these really professional companies. I purposefully have our customer service reps answer the phone. Hey, how's it going? This is Saddleback Leather. What's going on? How can I help you? Real casual. So all the videos, I posted a picture. We were in Australia one time, and we saw this kangaroo at this park, and he had huge nuts hanging down. I mean, they were really impressive. And I put my bag there, and I got back, and then I zoomed in, and it magnified his little nuts there, big nuts there. And
Don't they make like keychains out of those?
they do, and they make I've got bottle holders or bottle openers. Yeah,
Cool.
they were pretty cool. So I took a picture and I posted it on Facebook, and some lady, older lady, I checked, looked her up. She posted, "That is unprofessional and not funny." And I said, it's funny you say that because my wife says that about me, and and unprofessional, not funny. And so, yeah, it's funny how people like that. They're like, "Hey, this guy's real. Hey, the guy's he's kind of ballsy. He's got guts. He doesn't just try to blend in and try to please everyone, vanilla. He takes a stand for stuff." And so anyway, yeah, we're very personable, and I think that's what has separated us from just hey, do you want to buy a bag? It's a nice quality. You want to buy a bag?
Can you share a little bit about your team and a little bit about your leadership style? What are your thoughts on delegating and running a company effectively?
Yeah, so because I'm a visionary, and I usually have about 50 ideas before my first cup of coffee, and I just have a lot of that can hurt a business if you don't have people who are structured and organized and love numbers and all of that sort of thing. It can really hurt your business. So a danger of entrepreneurs is they hire a bunch of people just like themselves. You have to hire people who are different from you. You have to. And if let's say you're a business owner, an entrepreneur, and you have a really good idea for something that no one else has done, or that is better than other people's, and you're kind of introverted, you've got to have a visionary. You've got to have people on your side who can think of new ideas and who are good with meeting with people, networking. So getting people around us, the way you do that, we use a free test called the Core Values Index,
okay,
the CVI, and I give that to every employee before we hire them, and then we look for a personality profile. We say, hey, this person's got to be a little more serious. They've got to be more numbers focused. They've got to be okay being alone a lot, and we don't want them in a hurry for things. And so that turns out to be a certain profile, and then we go and find that person. And if you find the right person for the right roles, man, they have endless energy to do their work. They're hungry to do a good job. But if they're not, if you get them in the wrong role, you just hire a really nice guy, a really nice gal, then you're shooting yourself in the foot. You need to find someone whose personality fits the role.
And so you find that when you use this personality test, more often than not, you end up with the right person. Like, this actually works.
Oh, all the time. Not all the time. Usually 90% of the time. And then you have other things like one of the things we are big on is what we try for is humility. And we're prideful a lot in a lot of different ways, but we try to be humble. And so we can take other people's opinions, and other people's criticisms, and other people's, we don't constantly interrupt people. We're open to other people's successes. We want other people to be successful. If you have a prideful person, oh my gosh, you can't work that way with those people. They take credit for everything. They know it all. You can't tell them anything that they're wrong. They're easily offended. They brag about their successes. They don't congratulate anyone else. It's brutal. There's a great book called The Ideal Team Player by Patrick Lencioni, The Ideal Team Player. And it talks all about that. But yeah, that's a really big one, is hiring humble people. So in my interviews, I'm usually the last person to interview. I'll say, so tell me one of your bigger mistakes. And humble people will go, oh man, I got a list. Prideful people say, I don't make mistakes. Or they have trouble coming up with mistakes. We just had that with a production manager we were looking to hire in Mexico. And I said, tell me about some of your bigger mistakes. and he couldn't think of any. And I was hiring a general manager looking for that role last year. And I interviewed a guy, and he said the last mistake he made was like 31 years ago. And I go, oh, so he's too prideful. Not this interview is over. So, and here's a little tip for entrepreneurs, for when you have employees. The favorite question is, by when? Because your business will grow at the speed at which you make agreements with people. So you say, that's a great idea. What have we agreed to so far in this meeting? And so someone says, oh, this. And you say, okay, great. So who's going to take that? Oh, you will. Okay. Well, by when can we have the results? I don't know. I'll get back to you. I have to check. Okay. Well, by when will you know? By when will you check? By when? Oh, so you're going to have that. By when can we have that for us to read? By when can we have that prototype finished? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, by when? So that's got to be your favorite question, and just casually ask by when. And once people agree to it, if you don't make an agreement, it might be 3 months before you see it. So very important.
And what if a person makes an agreement and then they don't deliver on that by when date?
Oh, I do that. Everyone does that. So you say, oh, so I thought we were going to have that. You said you'd have it by Friday. And you didn't get it? Oh, well, I kind of got sidetracked. I had a lot to do. Say, okay, no problem. So by when do you think you can have it to us? Oh, by Monday. Okay, yeah, no, that's great. And then they give it to you. Now, if they don't get it on Monday, or once you start seeing a pattern of this, but you may not even see a pattern if you don't ask the question. So if you see a pattern of them procrastinating on everything, not finishing duties, not finishing tasks, not reaching back out to people, not scheduling, you start seeing that, and you have the wrong person for that role. And so you need to just remember it and either put them into a different role or replace them, because you don't want, but see, yeah, that's where the CBI comes in. Certain tasks, I don't ask people. There's certain people I don't ask them by when, because I know they already have it scheduled, and they'll have it finished, before the date. But you get to know your people.
Okay, now we're going to move on to our next segment. It's called the digital, and in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few questions, or maybe I'll just ask you one question because we're running out of time, about your digital business and your digital marketing strategy. I'm very interested in learning about your marketing because a lot of your marketing comes across through your social media, I suppose. How would you describe your overall marketing strategy in terms of new customer acquisition, and how do you see your social media as a marketing channel?
So the social media is just, you have to do it. You have to do that. We have a good following of people. So we have one of the fan groups has like 8,400. The Saddleback Leather fan group is what it's called. Yeah, we have big fan groups, and they market for us. So we share with them things, and they talk about it, and they talk about it with all their friends. They post pictures of their bags. Their friends see them with their bags all the time. So
this fan group is not managed by your company. Like, this is a separate.
Yeah, they did it. There's some different people started it themselves, just customers. Okay. No, we don't manage that at all, but we get in there. And so one of our nicest things is we get involved with them. And so I get in. In fact, I was just in a little earlier today, and I'll post pictures of things that I see, and they like interacting with the owner. And I'm not too big to interact with people. I love people. I love talking to people. And so us interacting with them is a big deal. And then they talk about us. One of the big things about the marketing that we'd like to do is education. So just educating about leather, educating about what goes into quality leather, educating about the metal that we use for the hardware, all just the finer details, even educating about the tanning process, vegetable tanning versus chrome tanning, and what are those? um, educating about the thread, all these little details. And the more, when I learn it, I just pass it on to them. So education, if you can educate people without asking them for anything, just educate them. They trust you, and then they want, and they appreciate you. There's a little reciprocity going on where they want to reciprocate for you helping them be wiser in life in their decisions. And so yeah, it's you can never lose just educating people and being in relationship with people, caring for them.
And are you able to somehow measure the ROI? So you do this education, you put out so much different content on social media. Is there a way for you to know that, yes, I'm doing it, I see that there's a lot of views or there's a lot of comments on my posts, but it is actually turning into business? Do you measure that somehow?
I mean, we can see on Google Analytics who comes in from on social posts, where they come from. We can see, so they help us to see those things, but we don't only do stuff if we're gonna get sales. We just continually educate, continually interact, continually spend time, and it seems to work. So we don't only do stuff that we can measure, or only do stuff that has a really strong return on it. We do, like, I'm about ready to send out just an encouraging email to our newsletter group, and just saying, hey, you know what, it's a hard time, and and I'm going to just share with them some things that we're going through and that I'm learning, and I hope it helps you. So that's not going to bring in any sales, that newsletter, but it cements in their mind that I care about them and that we're friends.
Finally, we are going to move on to our final segment called the rapid fire round. And in this segment, I'm going to ask you a few quick questions, and you have to answer them in a few words or one or two sentences. So the first one is, do you recommend any book for entrepreneurs or business executives in 2020, and why? I know you already mentioned one book.
Okay, How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. It's written a long time ago, but read that book. How to Win Friends and Influence People. That is the book.
I read it, I think, when I was a kid, and it was very, very useful. An innovative product or idea in the current e-commerce, retail, or tech landscape that you're excited about?
Yeah, so medical attire. It's kind of interesting. It's a new thing for the most part in the U.S. They usually wear them for surgeries, but all natural, no polyester. Polyester's from the devil. Causes all kinds of problems. All natural cotton.
Cool. A productivity tool or software that you would recommend?
I would say notes on your phone. As simple as that, but take notes about everything. I just take down notes, copy it all, take down your ideas all day long.
A startup or business in e-commerce, retail, or tech that you think are doing great things right now?
There's a company called Holtz Leather, Holtz Leather. It's a family. I believe they're in Mississippi or Alabama, and they're making small little, very personalized. I think it's a family that works together, and they're really breaking into the corporate world for corporate gifts. I kind of like them.
Cool. And finally, a peer entrepreneur or business person who inspires you.
An entrepreneur person who inspires me. I would say Seth Godin is he's entrepreneurial. He's more of a writer, of course.
Marketing guy, right?
Marketing guy, but he encourages people around him. He encourages people to try, to launch, to ship, he's constantly encouraging people, and he does make money from. He's definitely an entrepreneur, but no, that he's just so encouraging all the time. He's a real blessing to me a lot.
Perfect. So those were all the questions that I had. Thank you so much, Dave, for joining us today. Thank you for sharing your story and some of the your insights with us. So if anyone wants to find you, or if you have any products or your company, how can they find you?
Yeah, saddlebackleather.com, like the saddle of a horse on his back, and leather.com, saddlebackleather.com. That's where we are. We also are here in Fort Worth, Texas. Right now you can't visit because we are all shut down. But yeah, we're here in Fort Worth, Texas, and yeah, it's kind of fun. We have a fun little thing going here.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much again, Dave, for joining us today at Trip Talks.
Hey, thanks for having me. It's an honor. Thank you.
Thank you.